We are starting an early morning select board meeting here at 8 a.m. This meeting is being recorded, and we have a fairly succinct agenda today. We'll start with the consent agenda, starting with the extension of hours for Saltbox Kitchen on the 9th of this month from 11 p.m., last call at 10:30 p.m., 84 Commonwealth Ave, as well as the 16th of this month, 10 p.m., so last call at, no, I think that must mean 10, I apologize. It's 11 a.m., I'm assuming, to 10:30 p.m., and 10 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. last call?
No, it should be, it closes at 11, and the last call for alcohol is 10:30.
Oh, okay, apologize. 11 p.m., 10:30 p.m., 10 p.m., last call 9:30 p.m., all at 84 Commonwealth Ave. And then we will be reading a proclamation for our retiring Fire Chief Mark Cotreau on Monday, when I suspect we will have a larger audience and we can all express our appreciation in greater depth, but I wanted to acknowledge that. And we also wanted to accept a gift from Audrey Mold of $1,000 for the Concord Fire Department gift account. She has been very, very generous to our fire department and to the town. We have one-day special licenses for the Concord Carlisle Youth Hockey on the 21st of October from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m., 246 Ornac, all alcohol. Rotary Club of Concord, the 30th of this month from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., 11 Wheeler Road, malt beverages only. Nicholas Ferbert on the 19th of October from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., 246 Ornac, or Old Road to 9 Acre Corner, all alcohol. Concord Women's Chorus on the 14th of October, 7:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. at 81 Elm Street, wine only. And Acton Boxborough United Way on the 11th of November from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m., also at 246 Old Road to 9 Acre Corner, all alcohol.
I move to approve the consent agenda as read.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Can we present the chief's proclamation? You mentioned that he was coming in for an exit interview or something?
Yes, but he called yesterday to schedule it for noon today. So I'm going to see him at noon.
Okay.
And he's going to give me his thoughts on his career.
So will he be able to join us perhaps on Monday?
I'll see if he can. He starts work on Monday.
Okay, so perhaps
So
not.
I think
So we'll have to wish him well from far away.
Is the proclamation ready to go?
Not yet, and that's why we're going to wait until there's a larger group to extend our gratitude. Mr. Town Manager?
I just have a few things to mention. Just a reminder that the Effective Governance Workshop is scheduled for Saturday, September 23rd from 8:30 a.m. to 11:30 in the Townhouse. And Mr. Lawson is leading the discussion to orient new and existing committee members to various aspects of public service and complying with the law. And refreshments will be served, I see. There's a joint meeting, the annual joint meeting between the school committee, the select board, and the finance committee is next Thursday, September 14th at 7 p.m. in the Townhouse to discuss the coming budget and town meeting planning process. That's a week earlier than normal. Usually the third Thursday of September. It is a week earlier this year. The 55 Church Street project closed, so the town now owns that property. Kate Hodges deserves a lot of credit for pushing that through to conclusion. Thank you to the board for your support. We appropriated an additional $100,000 that's being used for the installation of carpeting, painting, cleaning up. And I think the folks at 105 Everett Street, the Human Services folks, hope to move in about 2 weeks.
Fabulous.
So they'll be over there shortly, and getting internet broadband service is kind of a challenge because the wires are underground. So they're working on that. But they're very much looking forward to being in that new space.
Well, congratulations to everyone. That's great.
Ag Day is this Saturday, September 9th, and Lower Main Street will be closed as it typically is to accommodate the farmers market. The police and fire departments are hosting an open house as they did last year at the same time, hoping that folks who get downtown for the farmers market and Ag Day will also stop by. And of course, it's a Concord Food Collaborative's weekend garden fair, and it goes all weekend. So there's lots happening agriculturally this weekend in Concord. And people are encouraged to check it out. We're receiving green cards from volunteers interested in serving on the dog park siting committee. So we'll be discussing that at your next meeting. The Emerson Umbrella ZBA hearing was postponed till October 12th. There are some parking issues. We are getting some comments from people, feedback on the pay-by-phone parking and other parking changes, so maybe we'll discuss that further next Monday at your next regular board meeting. Public Information Officer Erin Stevens started working yesterday. Her office is in the little cubicle in the hearing room, so if you have a chance, stop by and say hello to Erin. I think you're going to find her very helpful. And lastly, we have made an offer to replace Laura Landry in my office, who retired about a month or so ago, and the person has accepted. We're keeping the name confidential because it's a conditional offer pending passage of some screening. But we hope to have her start on October 2nd, so the office will be fully staffed up.
Great. Well, that sounds great, and it'll be nice to know that there'll be more hands on deck.
Jane, I just want to follow up. We're going to have a table
Yes, at Ag Day.
at the Ag Day thing. Andrew's gotten us a table, and we're going to try to get some signs so we can, just not stand around.
Meet and greet, yeah, green cards?
But yeah.
Yes, but that's the goal.
But we do have some committees that, and we have a lot for the dog committee, but we haven't gotten much for the pollinator committee, and so we've got some vacancies.
Let's make sure
let's
that
stop signs.
list.
I can plot out stuff.
Well, that's great.
I think just something that says select board, volunteer to serve on a committee, something that causes somebody to understand.
If you design something and send it to me, I could have planning or print something on 36 by 24, because I already got the sandwich board sign we have in the basement. So we could just put, those printouts on both sides of it.
That'd be great.
Great.
So something else, something that shows who we are, like Concord Select Board, the logo, and then volunteer here or some kind of quick little.
Volunteers or something like that. So
Do we know what the weather forecast is?
Actually, this weekend I think it's
Saturday,
supposed to be okay.
last night I looked.
It's in between the two.
Yeah, Saturday.
I had thought I'd heard that maybe not so.
I think I
We had a
heard
tent
maybe
there
not
the
so.
last time we did
I
it.
thought it was your tent. Did you have a pop-up tent? We brought it, we had drag a table from here, and I said I would buy a table.
I think
instead of trying
Rec
to-
has a pop-up tent if
Do
you
they?
want.
Well, yes, I
We did
think it's
have
going away.
I thought you had it at your
Chris,
house.
while we're checking on the weather, what are the plans for the areas that people are moving out of to go to 55 Church? Are there plans for that?
There's no 105 Everett Street next to the Armory is owned by Commonwealth of Massachusetts. We lease it, and I don't know if UMass has custody of the property. I don't know if they know they have custody of 105 Everett Street. It has some
Lucky
code
UMass.
compliance issues. There's a fire escape at the rear of the building, metal fire escape, that has been deemed by the building department, I think, to be unsafe and needs major repair. There's other major work that needs to be done. I've asked Kate, the assistant town manager, to approach the state to see if they might be willing to sell the property to us inexpensively, or how best to move forward, because now that the property needs some significant investment. I wouldn't recommend that we make major investments in a building somebody else owns, so we want to clarify what the state's wishes are. It might be logical. The Armory, is now a museum in part. I think they have parking issues, and it might be that they want to take that property over for parking for the Armory or some other purpose. So we don't have a plan for reuse.
But Kate is following up.
She's looking into. I think we should have a conversation with the state, which hasn't happened for about 20 years. We've been using the building.
Maybe they would access it to us, and we can turn it into meeting space for our many, many meetings that we've been having.
That would be great. So we did. We got as far as draft legislation, and we thought I negotiated a price to purchase that property for, I think it was $20,000. A very
Good deal.
And then the Speaker of the House said, no, all state land must be sold at fair market value. There can't be any discounted pricing or so forth. But I think it'd still be worth finding out what the price they would charge. Yep. Usually they're below current market.
Right. Well, given that it's not a code
There's codes. There's lead paint and there's
Have you heard
accessibility.
anything further about the property where we have a lien on that we tore down, had to tear down? And
Yeah, on
Hall, there's
On
sort of
Sudbury
an interest rate of 12% or something, quite high.
it's a significant interest rate. There's been other than we removed the structure and made the
Right.
property safe and put a lien on the property, and otherwise we haven't heard from the property owner.
Starting to look a little weed grown.
And I don't think there's much that we can do about weeds because it's not a safety condition. So I know that I suspect the gentleman is elderly. I think he's indicated that he would be leaving that property to his daughter who lives in Dallas, and at the time it changes hands is when the town would recoup its expenditure. Let me just mention on the 55 Church Street, by the way, the recreation, there's been a interest in having a recreation satellite operation in West Concord. So they are going to be, the rec department is going to have an office there, and some of the rec programs that are happening at 105 Everett Street, yoga classes and some other spin classes and things, I think are going to be happening at 55 Church Street in West Concord. So that'll give the rec department a greater presence over there.
That's great. Is 55 Church Street now becoming small?
The
list of things that were...
The retirement board anticipated moving into one of the prime offices on the second floor, and then learned that the floor probably can't handle the 20 or so very heavy file cabinets that they have for all the retirees for past years. So they're actually may not be moving in there. So there's actually a free space. And there's an unfinished third floor, and the rec activities would go up on the third floor, and the rec fund would pay for any renovations or finishing of the third floor.
The spin classes make a lot of noise down below.
Yeah, I was thinking, basement perhaps
Right.
rather than ceiling,
That's
but
what I was thinking.
yeah.
Okay. Open space.
We got a weather forecast?
Partly cloudy.
Not
Let's see, Saturday, sunshine and clouds mixed, slight chance of a rain shower. High 69.
Harvey and Irma are churning things up, so
Won't be here for a while, I suppose.
Next week.
we don't know.
So
Okay.
can I just question about the tent for Ag? Do you have a tent,
He
Steve?
doesn't.
No,
I
I
asked.
don't.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sure you had, we had
I
one.
had one back in the day, but I don't have one anymore. Broke.
Oh, do we need
Do you
to?
want me to check with the
It's
rec
good to have
department?
a tent
That'd be a
when
good
it's
idea.
sunny and we're standing out there for
Yeah,
hours on
you
end.
want some coverage,
You want
yeah.
some cover.
That's
And people last
And people
year,
find us better with a tent.
and they're willing to sit down and actually fill in green cards if it's not,
right.
if it's some shade.
We've reserved space for like a 12 by 12 tent. So
Okay, so
So now we
Andrew,
have
will you
one.
check with Kate to see if the rec department, they had one, I think they use it for
They
signing.
probably would have one, but they may, I don't know who else is using it. I know that Envision Concord is setting up a table at
Yes.
Sandy.
The comprehensive long range planning committee and Vision Concord will be in hopefully large evidence. It wouldn't be bad to have it close by the select board because this is
Right, it's like
a natural,
keep governments
yes,
together.
a natural connection there.
So we have a table to take out to Ag Day. The last time Steve and I carried this big,
Okay.
I
heavy.
remember doing that.
So I,
We'll make arrangements to have that, great.
do we have one? Because
Yeah, we
otherwise
do.
I
We
had
have-
offered that we just buy, go to Costco and buy a table. It's lightweight for us to do.
that might be the option that we take.
Just let me know so I can
Yeah.
get over there. It's not much time.
Yeah.
I just feel like we should have something that's easily transportable that we can use at different events that makes it easy for us to do this.
Select board backpack.
Yeah. Our go kit.
I'll have an update for you
Go
today.
bag.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be just a lightweight plastic, go on the table.
All right. So, we have some other orders of business here. And the next one is to confirm effective date of liquor license transfer from Holder Inc., doing business as Vincenzo's Pasta to CRG Fresh LLC, doing business at Delita at 1200 Main. Do I hear discussion or?
Just a note that the ABCC transfer was approved faster than we've ever experienced.
Okay.
Therefore, the transfer was approved before the closing on the purchase of the property, or the exchange of the property. So the seller has requested that the effective date of the transfer be established as September 30th.
Right, and then do we need to do anything in particular to?
I think you just need to confirm that
Yeah, the
that's...
effective date would be October 2nd, which would allow Vincenzo's to be
On
in
premises
business until
tomorrow.
9:30.
Right.
Okay.
Any discussion?
Building or just the business?
Just the business.
So we're really just amending what we've already
Right.
approved and
Yeah.
doing it.
So you could just move to, confirm date as
Yep.
October 2nd.
Do I hear a motion?
Sure, I move to confirm the effective date of the liquor license transfer from Holder Inc. doing business with Vincenzo's Pasta to CRG Fresh LLC doing business as Adelita at 1200 Main Street as October 2nd, 2017.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And now looking out into our vast public, looking for comments. I suspect that is quick. Miscellaneous correspondence. I know that we have received a number of letters and I have to own the fact that I've been away for the last 2 weeks, and most of you have very nicely carried on. Any discussion of our letters? I know I noted one from Miss Ham, and also Pam Wrestler, and
I had a phone call with the same.
okay, also.
I've had a couple phone calls on the same topic.
Okay, so this is all referencing,
Parking, changes in parking, paid parking, pay by phone.
It seems to me the major problem was people were unaware that it was going to happen.
Right.
And are unsure of what alternatives other than using a cell phone that not everybody might be having with them. So, I think the other argument that parking by the library, because it's a free library, should
Make
be
a good
free.
argument.
I'm not convinced by that. There's a lot of things that are free that we still charge parking for, but I do think that there should be alternatives so that people can, park at the meters rather than in the neighborhood.
I thought that designating the spaces in the Stowe Street parking lot closest to the library, maybe 7 or 8 spaces for 30-minute parking or some limited period of time that allows you reasonable time to get in, similar to in front of the townhouse. That would be an approach to providing free parking, but not all day. And I'll mention that one of the things that we were it was recommended that we take this approach was there was Concord Academy staff and visitors were taking up all of the Main Street parking, and commuters. So when I came through this morning, I saw 4 or 5 cars parked there, and folks getting out of their cars and walking to the train. So at least they're now currently paying, whereas in the past that was free parking for commuters who don't live in town. So I think the question about how do you access the library, the 12 free minutes on the meters are still there. So there are meters on Main Street near the library, and anybody who's just picking up some books or dropping off some books can still get the free 12 minutes. For those that need more time, I think it makes some sense to designate those spaces in the Stowe Street lot closest to the library. The planning folks, I think, have resisted designating those spaces for any particular user, whether it's Emerson Umbrella or anybody else. But given the response we've received, that might be something to consider.
I think communicating is kind of
I agree, Tom. I don't think we've done that. This plan was sort of played out in April, and then it took till August to actually put the signs in, get the meters. There were some problems with the meters weren't numbered properly, so they weren't working properly. There were some problems in the rollout. So I think we
sounds like
accept
an
that
appropriate
criticism.
challenge to our public information officer early on.
So I do think it's worth a conversation maybe in our September 11th meeting, because those are one set of the issues, but I think if we're trying to solve a problem for Concord Academy, they ought to be in the conversation, have them park on campus, and have them fix their own, staffing parking needs, as opposed to putting that responsibility on the town. As far as, cars parking who are commuters, you can do something short of paid for parking per hour. People have long asked for pay by phone at the Crosby lot so they can actually park there without getting a ticket, which would make better sense for commuters. So
They
that
don't
would-
want to pay. That's the thing.
But if they park in the parking lot, they do. They're willing to pay. They're usually
Some
there are more
are.
cars parked there already.
50 cents an hour.
But you don't have, you can't park there all day anyway.
Yes, there's no restriction on the
So
time.
that's another thing. Then we're not getting like
So-
the problem of commuter parking. If they can park there for 8 or 9 hours a day, we haven't. All we done is
Well,
move the
The
parking
only way
from
you could
Crosby
manage
somewhere
it
else.
is if you could pay by phone.
Right.
And it's
So
still
we have to
gotta be-
understand what-
I guess
Still
part
park
of the
on the
problem
street.
had to do
On
with
the
the
street.
historic district,
Well,
so.
they ran into,
Yeah.
they were planning on putting meters at one time down there, right? And the
That's
Historic
correct.
District Commission,
That's correct.
I'm not
They
sure the
felt-
signs are any more beautiful than a meter would be.
yeah.
The signs are like every 15
Well,
feet. that
Okay,
they-
this
It's
clearly
hard.
indicates we need to discuss this
Agreed.
in greater depth.
I noticed that there's been some additional handicap spots
Yes.
in town,
Yes.
which is great.
Yeah.
But why are there no meters?
I think under the statute.
I don't think you can.
Yeah, I think the handicap parking is free
It's
under
free.
under statute by state law, I believe.
Okay.
Like, we check on, it's a good question. I'm vaguely recalling that. People with authorized parking.
Facility committee,
Is that a question?
It's a question I don't know the answer to.
Let me get back to that. I think there's a
I'm
state
just
law.
curious, because
Fair
until
question.
they painted them, those were two spots, one down by the post office, one right by Sarah Campbell's store there, that occasionally you could slide in without.
Clearly, you've marked them out.
I know where they are, yeah.
Yes. All right, so are there any other miscellaneous correspondence that is accumulated in people's minds or inboxes?
Well, let me mention that I put that, I did have that retail business committee that did meet, and I've sent out a summary of that to them. That was really quite a good meeting. The business partnership is meeting this morning. I think they're picking that up. John Boynton, I think, is leading that conversation. We're meeting again in late September. Chris, I'm hoping to set up a meeting with you to bring you up to speed with what they thought and some ideas that they had. It was a really good, meeting and a good group who are very interested in seeing if we can figure out some things to do. So
Great.
Thank you for putting it together.
Yeah, absolutely, because I know that we've got holes in multiple places. And we need to
Yeah.
help them.
but it's a set of tricky problems. There's local problems, and then there's some stuff happening that we really don't have much control over. And trying to figure out today, tomorrow, we talked about parking there too, and they said, well, but what happens in some odd number of years when all of a sudden we've got more ride-sharing kind of things and less need for, so
Right.
Yeah,
As soon as we figure out the parking, we won't need to park it.
right, exactly.
Well, I will say that this
Crosstown connect is
yeah.
and bike lanes. But this also segues perfectly into the comprehensive long-range planning effort, and I know John is the clerk to that effort, so
Right.
I'm hoping he
And
does
this isn't meant to be in their way, it's just making sure that this is a long process that the long range planning committee is engaged in, and is there some stuff we could start doing right now that would be pretty obvious, but wouldn't need to wait,
Right,
so.
it wouldn't get in the way.
No, I think it's great.
Wonderful. Anything else? Okay, so we have some committee nominations.
I nominate Laurel Jardine of 352 Lexington Road and Tracy Morano of 39 Partridge Lane to the Youth Advisory Board for terms to expire May 31st, 2020.
Second.
All in favor?
Need for nomination.
So I have a question. There's a gentleman who has put in a green card, but I haven't seen it. Have you seen, I think his name is Evan Rickey, the White Pond Advisory Committee.
It's in the Evan Ricker. It's in the clip.
Okay. So do we have to wait until September 11th to nominate him? He has a green card. I met with him. He was at the last White Pond Advisory Committee meeting.
You could.
He grew up in White Pond. His parents grew up in White Pond. He's moved back home.
Do I add him?
Moved back to Concord.
We can add him as,
Adam's
Add him as a
And
nomination.
then if you
I'd like
want,
to do that.
okay,
But I don't have his address.
104 Bolton Street.
there we go. Andrew,
Andrew?
you are pretty good.
I was there when he was to the Board of Appeals, so I remember his.
Very good.
So
Thank you. Nominate him.
All right, Evan Rickard is nominated to the White Pond
Thank you.
Advisory Committee. And committee appointments.
I move to appoint Teresa Yanulovich of 44 Ripley Hill Road to the Concord Local Cultural Council for a term to expire May 31st, 2020.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And committee reappointments.
I move to reappoint Jeffrey Campbell of 253 Musqueticud Road to the Youth Advisory Board for a term to expire May 31st, 2019.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And then we should confirm our town manager's appointments.
I respectfully request the board's confirmation of the appointment of Christian Fisher to the Board of Assessors for a term to expire May 31st, 2020, and Julie Klein of 121 Alcott Road to the Comprehensive Sustainable Energy Committee for a term to expire May 31st, 2020.
Do we make a motion on that or no?
Think
Okay.
there's appointments today?
No, you have to vote.
Oh, you do?
Oh,
Okay.
so I move to confirm town manager appointments Christian Fisher to the Board of Assessors for term to expire May 31st, 2020, and Julie Klein of 121 Alcott Road to the Comprehensive Sustainable Energy Committee for a term to expire May 31st, 2020.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right. And with no further items to report, I move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.